Telephone bills, a big problem for a lot of people. One, you don't understand them, and two, you don't want to pay them because they seem so big. Doesn't matter whether it's wireless or it's landlines. Either way, you can pay too much without knowing what you're doing. On the line with us right now, an expert in how to cut your phone bill, especially if you're talking about a business or other entity that has multiple phone lines. His name is Dan Aylward with Abilita. Good morning, Dan.
Morning, Walt. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Your job basically is to walk into businesses and associations and organizations and tell them how to save money on their phone bill without cutting the service. Are you usually able to do that?
Yeah, I'd say 9 times out of 10 we're finding savings that they quickly accept, and we're the ones who help implement it to make sure it goes as it's supposed to.
How is that? Why is it possible for you to cut phone bills 90% of the time?
Well, 5 to 35% of companies overspend in their spending, and telecom costs typically stay in the top 5 expenses for businesses. So we look for a couple ways. I mean, yes, it's local line, it's long distance, it's cellular, and the technology is changing. Mergers are happening all the time, and businesses are either growing or they're downsizing. It's a pretty dynamic thing, as you know.
Now, when you talk about cutting their phone bills, you're not talking about necessarily eliminating lines, but rather getting them onto better rate plans.
It could be either one. So, for example, sometimes you do need to cut lines because you need to have a good inventory of what's going on. Lines are out there that are used for modems, or sometimes they're just added as needed, but then later people find out that they're not needed anymore. But like you said, there are other ways too. Sometimes you look to other providers. Sometimes the contract is ended as well, and you need to stay on top of it in those areas. So it's good to get a good apples-to-apples comparison and know what you're paying for.
Is it possible to negotiate phone rates with the phone companies, both wireless and landlines, or is what you see what you get?
Depending on the size of the company. So obviously, the more leverage you have, if you're a larger company, the more you're spending per month. The smaller companies, you kind of take a choice of A, B, or C. What's nice is, since 1996, the Telecommunications Act here in Michigan has opened things up, and that's been revisited 10 years later, last year. So there is competition, there is mergers, and companies merging together. So what that means is there's some things changing that are out there. What's nice is some companies just want to stay with the incumbent. Typically that's AT&T or Verizon. And yes, you can stay more competitive on that, but you have to know what your needs are before you go into negotiating with them.
I found a couple of years ago as an individual that I could save a lot of money with voice over internet. The service seemed to be just as good. Is that a viable strategy for businesses as well?
Voice over internet is typically divided into 2 categories. There's voice over IP for phone systems, and I'd say every phone system that you would buy today, yes, you can get that, and that's whether or not you enable it. Voice over IP from a service provider, that is a newer technology, and it's still being developed and being hammered out. Typically, when you're looking for a phone company, they measure quality in terms of what's called the 5 nines. 99.999% of the time, you pick up your phone and have dial tone there. So companies I found who are interested in the voice over IP from companies like Vonage or Skype or companies like that are typically a little bit more cutting edge, and they are more comfortable with the newer technology, and they're also okay with, if the phone lines aren't available for whatever reason, they have another option, or they can go maybe 30 minutes without the phone lines. But certainly the savings are there, and certainly that's an area that's being developed, and most of us will be using that, I'd say, in 5 or 10 years.
As you look at the wireless systems that are out there and the programs that are offered, I think the only thing you can probably say about them is that every company is different. And that's going to make people crazy.
That's right. And my opinion when it comes to cell phones and wireless devices is you're really managing the person, because they can use it so many different ways. And if you want to find some savings there, you have to keep an eye on the text messaging. That's certainly a growing industry. The picture downloads, the game downloads, And then, of course, you have to stay on top of the minutes. And pooling the minutes is a good idea, a general rule of thumb, because you have, just like maybe health insurance, you kind of want to group it all together to absorb maybe a high month for some of your users.